comprised of Afro-British and Caribbean British. And at home as African Americans, we tend to be sort of an homogenized group, so to speak. So when I moved here, I wanted to have, or at least have, or feel that connection to the community. Yes, I'm African American, yes, I'm Black, but at the same time, I feel like it's nice to engage and kind of really be immersed in the Black community, doing something constructive. So, being from New York City, I've always known about the 100 Black Men. And for us, it was like a heritage organization, like the NAACP. But I had never, thought about joining and things like that. So when I moved to London, I was like, wow, like Cullen said, some of you who weren't here, he goes to the pub and he often hears people talk about, or other brothers saying, oh, the community, young people, so forth and so on. But no one ever really put in the work. It's okay to talk, to get the discourse going, but it has to, at some point, it has to give way to action. So I decided, okay, let me Google 100 Black Men London organization. It popped up. I emailed, filled out the application, did the process, and I'm near the end, if not at the end, of my first 100 days. And I'll tell you this, it's one of those things where it's important to give, but as much as you give, you've got to be expecting to receive as well.
That's true.
You've got to. There's an ancient Egyptian proverb that goes, the only thing that gives and doesn't expect anything in return is the sun, except when it goes supernova. It takes everything. Timmy knows that as a scientist. So in other words, if you do join, you expect to get something in return, and that something is whether it's going to be that good feeling you get when you engage with young people. Because one thing I've realized on the mentoring side of it is that you're reminded how smart and engaged young people are. It's easy to take them for granted because we're in a situation where both sides of the Atlantic, it's the sort of the villainizing of young Black people, and it's the same thing in New York, it's the same thing here, the same thing all over. So with joining the 100 Black Men, the mentoring program, the great parents that you meet, the relationships that you build, and it's hard work. It's hard work organizing. It's heavy lifting. I mean, it's one of those things where when you join, you feel like everything is set. It's stressful. I'm just being honest, but it's always like that when you're dealing with the community, especially when you're dealing with your own people. It's always stressful because you put your heart and soul into it. And sometimes, you're gonna be like, oh man, I don't wanna do this anymore. Then you're like, nah, I gotta do this. It takes you back because at the end of the day, it's value. And I would like to close with this. There's a saying that goes, rising tides lifts all boats. And I think that's what the 100 Black Men is we're the tide that's trying to lift the boats. The boats are young people. This is what we're trying to do. And I mean, it's also putting forth or engendering culture. Culture being that, within culture you have value system. And the value system in terms of thinking about things differently, thinking about money differently, thinking about health and wellness differently. This is what we're basically trying to do. Push culture without pushing culture. Paradigm shift in our own community so that we can see those young people go forward and become successful and contribute, and we continue doing that because essentially that's what builds wealth. Thank you.